harder, you're wasting freaking time, guys. That's before practice starts or when practice is over. Once practice is underway, you cannot take a chance of stepping back tempo-wise. Let me ask you this. In the games, do you ever want your guys to play a little bit with a little less intensity? Never. Do you ever want to give a little less effort? Never. Do you want them to be a little less focused at any time and kind of wander for a while? Never. So practice is where we can develop this ability to hold our focus and our concentration throughout the whole duration of the event. That's your job, as I see it. So what does it take to get that done? How far will you go? How much preparation will you undertake? How much discipline? How much attention to detail? How much energy can you bring? Do you think you can do it if you're walking around just kind of, slow, okay guys, come on over here we go. They're going to do just what you ask them to. If you'll believe this, your players will do exactly what you demand of them. If you'll believe that, anything that's less than full on is your fault. It's your responsibility. It isn't the player's responsibility. As soon as you give that away, and we don't have great leadership, or we don't have the stud that we had last year that used to stand and get them fired up. As soon as you give that up, you're giving up your power. You're giving up your responsibility, and to me, you're giving up your accountability. It is our job as coaches to command and demand the focus, the intensity, the energy, the effort, all of those things you just said. It's my job. It's your job. And it's when you assume that and you appreciate how important it is to keep this thing rolling, everything shifts. We don't have to talk about one football play today. If you guys will do what I'm telling you to do, and you'll find a way to elevate where you are, you're going to be better. You're going to win more. You're going to be more successful. And you're going to have... Did anybody mention fun? Did anybody mention fun? Do we have fun at SC practices? If you came to Seattle and watched, we had our last OTA last Wednesday, it looks exactly the same. From Matt Hasselback, who's 34 years old, to Russell Okun, who's 21 years old. It doesn't matter. They're all hustling around the practice field. They're running from drill to drill. They're having a freaking blast. They're high-fiving. They're chest bumping. They're busting their ass to do the best they can. And then practice is over. And they look around and go, okay, all right, we'll see you next time out. And they can't wait to get out next time. We've created that mentality and that approach. That's when your learners are best prepared to learn the best. Okay, we got to be teachers as coaches, right? But we better make great learners. If we do a great job teaching and they don't learn it, it doesn't do us any good. They've got to learn it. So we've got to understand these guys, and we've got to find our ways to engage them at all times, to make them available to us, to be the best they can be, so that we can maximize it practice. Does that make sense at all? Has anybody got any issues with this? I don't think so. You can't. Because it makes sense. It's just logic. How can you get your practices boned up? It's so that they're so fast, so quick, so energetic, on point, disciplined, strict, all of that, so that when it comes to game time, the games are easy. That's the whole point. You practice them so well that the games and the demands of the games are just second nature. That's what we're taking them to. Now, part of it is a sales pitch. Part of it is convincing your players that they are worthy of feeling like the games are easy. So you got to talk it to them. You got to talk it up. You got to let them know that the things that are going to be asked of them in games, they've already accomplished. They've already acquired the skills. They already know. So that when they get to game time, they're okay. And that will keep them from being freaked out and scared and second-guessing and wondering whether they're worthy or not, and give them the best chance to be the best they can be, which takes us right back to the beginning. We're just trying to help these kids be the best they can be. If you're asking them to be something that they're not, do you think they're going to be it? In a way. You've got to figure out how far you can take these kids. You've got to figure out how far you can push this kid to be the best he can be. You've got to be really good at that, because as soon as you screw it up and you're on the wrong wavelength with this kid, eventually he's going to say, well, you're not helping me, and he ain't going to listen very well, and now you got a kid that's kind of halfway there, halfway not there. So it's really important to assess this overall thing we're going at. But if we're working with all the intensity and all the focus and all the energy, man, you got a chance. So practice is so darn important. When we get to question and answers, let's make sure that if you have specifics about practices, about your own practices and your own approach, let's hit those so that we can help you with that. But I do know this. Let's go back to having structure. You've got to have an organizational pattern for your practices that your coaches understand and that your players understand. It's really good for players when they know what's coming up. when they know what drill is on this day and what comes after that one, they anticipate. That helps them be focused and tuned in because they know what's coming along. We practice the same by the day that we did 9 years ago here at FC, and we'll do the exact same thing in Seattle as we adapt it to the NFL game. That's by design. It helps them. So get your structure so that it's strict. Stay with it. Keep your time frames very tight. Know your clock. Know what's going on. Have the horn blow. The whole thing. So there's strict discipline to it. So everybody feels it. It's a good thing. They feel good. They know that they're going and they're doing things right. And they're performing at practice really well. And it goes all the way down to every drill. The same kind of order. Your coaches, your position coaches should have strict attention to the focus of the time frames they have so that they can do exactly what they want to get done with really good intent, and the players know what's happening, the coaches know what's happening, and it all fits to the installation and what's coming on the practice schedule. It has to be, you have to be organized. You have to be disciplined, and you need somebody blowing the horn so that your time frames stay strict. If you're just country coaching, that's what's going to happen. You're going to lose kids, they're going to float, they're going to drift, and they're not going to be with you the whole time. I think that the overall plan of it is really important. The overall, the whole scheme of things. But today, let's not address that. Let's just talk about how we can get better at practice. Now, let me give you one of the central theme in our program. Competition is the central theme in our program. That's been chosen because I figured out a while back that I'm a competitor and I'm competing my butt off in everything I do. So when I designed it, we put together how could I have a central theme to the program that I could really stand for and represent and wholeheartedly support at all times and really be true to. It made total sense to me. Competition. Now, why competition is so important is to make your practices engaging, to make them so that the players can't help but want to be involved. You got to have winning and losing involved in the practice. Somebody's going to win, somebody's going to lose. There's something at stake. Every single creative way you can come up with to make your practice competitive, I'm talking not just win the whole practice, I'm talking about from one drill to the next drill. You'll find that your guys will be more engaged. If you keep score, it helps. For instance, if you do blocking drills and you do just run blocking drills, who wins, who loses, just keep score. They'll try harder. They'll be into it more. They'll question, oh no, I won that one. You got them engaged. No, I didn't lose, coach, because I moved him off the board or whatever, or knocked him across the line. They'll battle for the win, and that's engagement. That's what you want in your practices. If you don't have that, you got something less than all they got to give you. So competition in every single phase. We keep scoring everything. We keep scoring 7-on-7. We keep scoring 1-on-1. We keep scoring our team drills. We keep scoring our pass rush drills, in everything that we can. And we even like to post the scores. Somebody keeps track, somebody keeps the numbers, and we post the scores just so it's up there, so the players have it in their mind that something's at stake every day. It makes a difference. If you want to practice great, I believe you have to compete. You have to creatively find ways to fit that into your practice schedule. It's really simple. If you go to, everybody do 7-on-7. Okay, we got through, put the ball on the 35-yard line and we throw routes and we cover them up. Well, if you move the football, they've got to make some yards every time and just let that be part of it. And if they score a touchdown, okay, they don't even have to keep track of the overall score. They're going to compete differently. They're going to focus differently. You're adding dimensions for the quarterback's decisions and the receivers. Do they get out of bounds? Do they fight for the next yard? Do I hustle to tag the guy off because he's going to make a first down? All of that starts to come into play in a 7-on-7 drill. You can keep scoring 7-on-7, and here's the simple formula. For every completion, it's 1 point. For every incompletion, the defense gets 2 points. For every touchdown, it's 3. For every interception, it's 3. And if you look at it, you'll have a game. That scoring system, as simple as that is, you've got guys engaged. And if you'll keep the competition going, they're focusing more, which is what you want, which is what you need to get these guys as good as they can get. And on and on and on. You can compete in every single drill that you're doing. And it's, now let me say something about competition. Competition, that phrase, can mean something different to different people. Let me tell you the way we understand it. Competition is you're competing to be the best you can be. I'm not competing to beat you just to beat you so I can say I beat you. That's not good enough. That's not enough. We're competing to see how far we can take it. But check this out. If you realize that the guy you go against in practice is the guy that forces you to try to win, he's calling on you to win or lose. That guy over there, in essence, is actually making you perform to your best. If you let him beat you, let him beat you. But if you're trying to win, he's elevating your game. And the sooner that your players understand how critical it is this relationship with the players on the other side are,